Hi, welcome to another Stacispeaks. It's your girl Stacy. So I'm kind of just going off of the dome right now because I actually had something planned today. But, as the enemy loves to work, and he works very hard to stop whatever God's plans is for your life when, ultimately he never prospers because God knows what he's doing. So, unfortunately, I did have footage before. It didn't come out great. There were many different distractions. There were things going on in the background and I couldn't focus. So, I am just going to go off of what the Holy Spirit is telling me to say right now. So, hopefully I can just be able to pour out the Holy Spirit's words into this video and not just go off of my own. I know that the Holy Spirit is going to guide me through this. So today, the topic that I wanted to talk about, it's a serious topic. It is something that I've been wanting to talk about for many different years, and now more than ever, I feel as though that I should talk about it because I'm not the only one, and I thought that I was. I thought that I was the only one going through what I was going through 4 years ago and beyond. The topic of discussion today is depression. I have been living with depression, and I never really put a name to it, mostly because I never wanted to own those feelings. So here is just me coming out and saying it. I suffered from depression. It was not a fun time in my life. I have had many different experiences, but not very desirable times alone. And a lot of times when you feel as though you are alone in things, it's not the case. Because I felt very alone. No matter how many friends I had, no matter how much family I had, I still felt very much alone. And I don't know who needs to hear this message, but I just want to let you know that whatever you're going through, whatever is going on in your head right now, don't you ever let it stop you from doing what God told you to do a long time ago. To keep living and fulfill your purpose. Because I thought that I was good as dead. I thought that there was nothing left for me. And that couldn't have been farther from the truth. I was 18 and younger when I felt the need to put up a wall for my emotions. To basically say that what I was experiencing didn't matter and wasn't happening when I was the one that was suffering the most. And no matter how many times you could tell people and talk about it, you never really get to the core of the situation. You just kind of brush over it and just make it seem like, you know what, it's cool. I was the type of person that used to joke about that stuff. Used to just jokingly talk about suicide. And it was a time where I just felt like, what is the purpose of me even being here? And that was the toxic mentality that I had for so long. I had that toxic mentality since I could even remember, for many different reasons. it was more of an internal struggle, but it felt eternal. I was in high school. I never really liked school. I was avoiding all sorts of confrontations, all sorts of conversations. I was trying to avoid it as much as possible. I wanted to be seen and not heard, and barely even seen, because I wanted to get through my high school experience in, I guess, one piece. I didn't really want to interact. I just kind of felt like, you know, I didn't deserve it. I know I'm laughing now, but I'm just thinking back at a time where I thought that I wasn't worth it to have friends. I wasn't worth it to be loved. I wasn't worth it to do anything that I like to do. And that kind of just set the mood for my entire high school experience and a little bit beyond. Coming out of high school, I didn't really have as much experiences as I should have or could have, because I didn't really value myself as much as I should have. So at 17, right after my graduation day, my life took a completely different turn. It turned practically 180, and just, different circumstances, different situations, and same old brain, same old mentality. I had the same exact feelings. They never went away. They never changed, because I wasn't addressing them. So ultimately, I was just grown up with that same little child just poking at me like, you still have to deal with this. You still have to think about this every single day. And basically just remember me, but not in a good way. Going into my adulthood, I dealt with a lot of emotional anguish that I can even really put into words. I didn't really know where I was going, where I belonged. I didn't know what I was doing. I basically just said, I'm an adult now. I am through with the bondage of childhood, so now I can do whatever I want, right? I know I'm probably not the only person, but yep, that was me. Then going into adulthood, I became a messy adult. And you're probably thinking, what's a messy adult? Well, I will tell you, a good person on the other side of the camera, that the messiest of people usually are the ones that grow up without actually developing into a grown-up. And I was turning into that person. I wanted to do whatever I wanted to do. I started wanting to go out more. Even though I never was really into the party scene, I just wanted to do something different than the mold that I was already instilled since childhood, since birth, so to speak. So I wanted to get away from that. I didn't want to really be that goody two-shoes anymore. I kind of went from angsty teen to angsty adult. Being 18, I just, I had my own different style. I was constantly experimenting with my looks. I was constantly trying to make myself look better, but I wasn't taking care of myself at all. My health was still in the gutter, and I never really addressed it. So my health was not ideal. It wasn't terrible, but I didn't care enough about my health. I didn't care enough about myself. So I could dress on the outside, but on the inside, I was a mess. And that kind of was how I've always portrayed myself, because I kind of had the ability to become something that I wasn't, just to please people. That is what we call a chameleon. A chameleon person. And I was that. I wanted to fit in any and everywhere that I could. And I kind of just lost control of myself. I didn't know what I liked. I didn't know what I didn't like. I mean, I knew to a certain extent, but I never really spent time by myself to really get to know myself. So, yeah. Then I started to dabble into stuff that I really had no business doing. I started going into dating sites and started getting into the dating scene, and look, I had my experiences, but I will not say that I completely erased that part of my life, because I learned a lot from it. I learned about myself as a person and how important it is to value yourself before you could even say that you want to even deal with another person, let alone have a relationship. And I didn't know what it was like to truly love myself and to truly want better for myself, because I always was just thinking that my life was just nothing more than just average, maybe even less than that. So then 18 happened, and there were some good times, but there were some difficult times where I have my past, and I never really, focused on my past. I always was trying to block it out, which is not how you handle your problems. You don't just block them out. It's no such thing. They just kept coming back. Every single night, every single time I'm alone, I'm hearing and little voices just saying, oh, you're good for nothing. You can't do anything right. This person hates you. This person hates you. Why are you even here? Things like that used to plague my mind. I used to be on the ground, I remember, just rocking back and forth and just wishing for death. That's how bad it got. So much so that I just was like, I can't keep doing this anymore. I started to make little video diaries. I don't know if I want to release those to the public just yet, but I made little video diaries for the times when I felt like I didn't have anybody. I felt like I was alone. I felt like crap. So I started to talk about it in videos, for some strange reason, I just hated myself. I was just angry at myself because I'm like, what's wrong with you? And I could never really understand why I hated myself so much if I didn't even give myself the chance. I just was so filled with anger and frustration, and I say frustration a lot, but anger and bitterness towards my circumstance and how my life has been until now. I was finding any and everybody to blame because I couldn't blame myself enough. So I just resorted to blaming myself and telling myself that I shouldn't even be here. But you know what? I am here to tell you that whatever that voice inside of your head has told you, it could go and cry itself a river, okay? It could just shrivel up and die. Let's be honest. Because I was stuck feeling that way for so long, just feeling like I'm not doing anything to do anything better for myself, and I just felt displeased and unsatisfied. I'm thankful that I'm out of that situation. But I start to realize that the reason why those things were plaguing my mind in the first place is because the devil knows that there is something inside of you that he cannot control, that he cannot put down, that he cannot put under wraps and put under his little thumb and evil looking finger. So he makes you feel less than. And he uses your thoughts against you. So I'm here to tell anybody who's feeling that way right now that you are important. You deserve way more than what the enemy has to offer and what is going on in your brain, because it's toxic. It's not right. It burns, it stings, it's not a reality. It is something that has been configured within your mind to make you feel like you are less than, based off of what other people have told you and other experiences that have made you feel like you are nothing. But I'm here to tell anybody who has gone through the same thing that I have, that you are something. You have a purpose, and don't you ever forget that. We were all put on this earth for a purpose. You are worth way more than what you give yourself credit for. So don't you ever let anybody tell you any different. I'm here sharing my story because I never put a name to what was happening. Those demons that kept plaguing me, I never addressed it. Mental illness is a real thing. Whether or not you just want to say, oh, it's all in your head, well, no, duh. It's in your head. Call it what you will, but it's not something that you should take lightly. So if you know that something's not right, it is okay to ask for help. It is okay to consult in a therapist or a friend that you really trust, because God works in so many different ways that you wouldn't even understand. So if there is somebody who's reaching out to you that wants to really talk to you, and God is just sending that person near you because you could feel it in your spirit if it's for you, go. Get that help that you need so that you don't have to be stuck in that. You deserve more than just balling yourself up into this sad fest of poisonous thoughts. Depression is not something that people should just assume that you're just having a bad day, because it's way more than that. But coming from somebody who, even though I do have my moments, I'm getting better. And I couldn't have said that 2 years ago. How I got there, I will tell you. I couldn't have made it without God. I know that sounds very preachy, but I couldn't have made it without God. And hopefully, He can speak to your spirit too. And you could get out of whatever is plaguing you so that you can live a better life. Have a great day. Have a great night. Have a great week. Have a great life. Stay great. Stay amazing. And just live your life because it's worth living. Talk to you soon. Love you all. Peace. Oh, wrong hand.